Thank you so much. I would like to share the experience of the Republic of Armenia, how the independent state democratic institutions can promote integrity and accountability, but also strengthen democracy in the country. On behalf of Corruption Prevention Commission, I would like just to present few examples how the accountability and transparency is strengthened in a country at individual and institutional level. And by naming institutional and individual, I mean holding public officials accountable for their behavior in a process of decision making, but also in their life, for their wealth, for their connections, and anything that is done through the public position. This is about the system of declarations that the country enhanced enough and automated fully now to make this data available not only for public, but also integrating the algorithmic decision-making function of the system that allows to compare and cross-check the information with other state registries and use the pop-up data as a red flags to do the investigation if needed. Another measure that has been newly introduced in the country is so-called integrity checking, which is common also for some of Eastern European countries, which means that new entrants for the candidates for certain important positions, judiciary, prosecutorial positions, and investigative positions, are held accountable for the previous work, for their connections, for their wealth, to ensure that possible reoccurrence of any corruption act in a position will not be possible. And this is very much interesting practice that has been implemented so far, and the results were helping the government to hold accountable not only those who are trying to enter into the system and have a new position, but also at the institutional level now decision-making for appointments, for example, at the judiciary, at the prosecutorial offices are also holding accountable. Currently, there is a draft law that will support the government to apply the same measure for acting judges, prosecutors, and investigators, and at the same time to have the trust of the society that this process is really fair, impartial, and also increasing the integrity across the government. There are discussions to have these final acts and so-called integrity conclusions public, so the society also can get the information. At the level of individual behavior, what was the measure also, which is part of the current OGP action plan also, we have committed to have the state registry for the gifts that public officials are receiving, and this platform also is available for the society. That all the electronic sources that we are using are interlinked in a way that we can kind of see the possible conflict of interest when it comes also the part of the commitment of the government for beneficial ownership, for example, holding also political parties accountable for their financial transactions and financial activities. And interlinkage of all these systems allows not only the state institutions, but also civil society, media, to use this data and have their own investigations. At the institutional level, what was very much really interesting that the country start to implement a so-called corruption risk assessment, which is done at the institutional level. So we have introduced as a corruption prevention institution the methodology to measure the possible risks at the institutional level. So it's not only that individual behavior, but also the procedural aspects of the certain governmental institutions can be accountable, not only for the government itself, but also for the public, to allow possibility of preventing any kind of wrong happenings at large. So these are just selected examples of the institution, and soon we would be very much happy to share also achievements in this regard, including the achievements when it comes to the implementation of the national plan under the OGP commitment. Thank you.